What's up, Athens, Georgia? Aaron Murray here. I'm at Bruxy, the best chicken and waffles in all of Athens. But if you can't make it in person right here in Broad Street, go to Uber Eats, Postmates, and order. And guess what? The first order, you get $30 in Bruxy dollars. Just make sure you use promo code Bruxy30 on your next order. I'm excited, man. Football's right around the corner. How you feeling this fall camp?
I feel good. I mean, we just got out of the hotel, during fall camp. We stay in the hotel. It's long days. We're working, grinding, but I'm excited. We've been putting in work, and hopefully all that just keeps accumulating, and we're ready for the first game.
Difference between you, your first 3 years at Georgia, and you today in camp, because you're now one of the oldest guys on the team, not only just the oldest quarterback, but elder statesman in that roster.
Yeah. When I first got here, I didn't know much of the plays. I'm trying to think back to my freshman year camp. It wasn't long because it was COVID. I think we stayed in the hotel for 3 days. But I just remember practice after practice, then we go install 1, install 2, install 3, and we just keep adding all the plays. And I didn't know what was going on. And now, after the past couple of years, I'm very confident. I know everything. Everything's staying pretty much the same. So it's all the same plays, and it's just trying to get better at my craft.
I was fortunate too. I had Bobo. Obviously, you have a different coordinator, but I had Bobo all 4 years, so the same play calls. And I know this will be the first year you working directly with him. But the thing that I enjoyed most about Coach was he gave me the ability to have input on the game plan. He expected me on Sunday night to essentially hand him my notes of plays I thought would work the next week. How is that relationship now with a new OC? I know he was on the staff last year, but where is that? Because you, like you said, you do know the playbook well. You know the checks, you know the offense. What's your working relationship with him?
Last year when he was on staff, he was with the tight ends mostly. I think that's correct. But we didn't really know. We knew each other. I didn't talk to him much though. So him transitioning into the OC role, obviously I want to have a really close relationship with him, be in good terms with him. Obviously, he's a great coach. He's very smart. There's a lot of different twists that he's put on. We've tried to stay very similar in what we do, obviously. But, he has his own twists, and he puts his own stuff in there, stuff that he likes. And, I'm kind of just letting him do his work and his due diligence and, just try to learn his way, what he wants, and then kind of add my spice in there.
Are you at that confident stage to say, I like this, I don't like that?
I think that's important too, and I think that he understands that. If I'm not comfortable running a play, what I'm saying? Why would we run it? Because if I'm uncomfortable and don't have confidence in a play on a certain down and distance or against a certain coverage, then I think that's important that maybe we try something different or talk about it, and maybe he can convince me that, hey, this is why we're doing it, and then I see it his way.
This was sophomore, junior year. I guess sophomore year playing at Vanderbilt. And there was a concept, it was smashed to the front side, and it was essentially, 2 verticals to the backside. And I don't know why, just based on the film, I was like, I just don't see it. And he usually listened to my input. He loved it. I would rank all the plays. And he said, listen, we're running the damn play. I don't care if you don't feel like it's going to work. And I'm like, I don't feel it. So he called it second quarter, touchdown. Called it third quarter, touchdown. I think he called it one more time. I think we scored 3 touchdowns on it, 2 or 3 touchdowns. It was 100% and touchdown every single time, and he kind of grinned at me coming off the field I told you, Murray, trust me a little bit. I know what I'm doing over here. So I'm excited to kind of see you work with him this offseason. Anything, because he was always at least big fundamentally with me. Any fundamentals that he's harping on with you?
I think the biggest thing with him is obviously there's certain ways that he wants it done. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's footwork or the way to read a certain play or this, that, and the other. And I think the biggest thing between me and him is that we've found a middle ground on everything, to where I'm still comfortable and that I'm not changing everything from maybe the way I saw it before or the way my footwork might be on a certain play. So that's something that I really like about him, his adaptability and, just trying to find a middle ground.
I'm sure he loves your ability to throw off platform. I see a lot of the stuff that you post and your quarterback coach that you see in the offseason. How much of that have you improved on? Because that is such a big part of the game, rarely do you get a clean pocket. Well, you may, because you have the best offensive line in America, but for those times you don't. Talk about that work and who do you watch the most to learn that stuff?
I think the obvious answer is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I try not to watch too much of him because he does it all the time. But I mean, it's fun to watch, and and I think that there's little things that you can add to your game, whether it's just like hitting a check down, like a little sidearm angle, like get it out there quick, or like there's a guy in your face, you got to get underneath. Just little things like that. But I mean, most of the time when you do have a clean pocket, like step into your throw, like get into it, like that's what you're taught to do. But obviously you want to train and practice the other stuff, the off-platform stuff, so that you can make the play whenever the opportunity presents itself.
I know you and I talked about, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, I think it was Aaron, the ability to get to the check down a little bit, and you and Bobo talked about that some in the springtime. How talk about the balance of that, of letting a play develop, but then understanding when it is time to essentially give up on it.
I mean, obviously, like there's certain plays where you're looking for a certain coverage to take that shot, and then there's like a coverage that it's like a 50-50, you know what I'm saying? You just have to make a quick decision and live with it. Like maybe you throw the shot or maybe you check it down, and usually you want to lean on the check down, so get the completion, especially when they're in zone. I want to say like the first pass that I threw in the spring game this past spring, we had just watched a bunch of clips of Aaron Rodgers like getting through zone, check it down to the back, they go get 10. I think the first pass play of the spring game, they dropped out in like cover 3 zone, they were like at the sticks, checked down to the back, we got 10 yards. So like it's like seeing like the best guys do it and then like having it click in your brain and then like translating it onto the field.
Is there pressure for you though to create big plays ever? Like, I mean, like how do you, because it is somewhat humble, you have to humble yourself a little bit. You have to understand like it may be a long process to be able to get into the red zone or get in the end zone. It's not going to just come chunk plays, which we all love as quarterbacks. I used to love when Bobo called it 144 double post. It was demon. I don't know if you probably obviously not the same terminology, but we would run double post after double post or some sort of combination with a deep cross too. And man, we were just bombs away. And it took everything in me not to throw it if it wasn't there. Like I would take 50 hitches before I would find the check down. How do you humble yourself though enough when there are expectations of, you have the receivers, you have the arm strength, you want to kind of show that off a little bit too?
I mean, like kind of like what you're saying, like we have the receivers, we have the athletes, like it's not going to take like that big bomb to like get a chunk play sometimes. Like we have good backs out of the backfield that can receive, make guys miss, like, and I think that's a big part of understanding, like you don't have to hit the bomb every time, you could check it down in the flat, he makes one guy miss and he's going for 30 yards, you know what I'm saying? And it's something that you keep in the back of your head, but obviously you want to hit that bomb, you know, so like when it's that ideal look, you sit on it and hang on, and if he wins, I'm letting it ride.
How far can you throw it?
I don't know. I haven't tried to throw it as far as I can in a long time. I think I could probably like 70. I don't know. I don't know though.
You only have like 20 yards to catch up to Joe Milton. That's it.
That's fine. I don't need to throw the ball 80 yards.
No, I don't think anyone needs to throw it unless you're throwing a Hail Mary at the end of the game and need it. And I think you could probably crow hop and throw it 75, 80 if you had to. Adrenaline going.
Probably.
All that good stuff. You talk about the receivers. I mean, you guys are, I think, the most talented receiving core since probably I was here. It's kind of been like, I think, a decade of a little bit of inconsistency. You're working with that group, and you've been here for 4 years. How good could this group be? And talk about a little bit the new additions too, and how they're kind of finding their place.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to be as good as we make it. We've put in the time, especially over fall camp. Whether it's getting reps before practice or after practice, getting in and watching film. Like the biggest thing that I've tried to stress to them is like, as long as we're on the same page and like I know what you're going to do and you know what I'm thinking based off a certain coverage or a certain play, like we can be really, really good. Because like when wide receivers are tuned in to that mental side of the game, like it elevates the level of their play because they're so athletic. Like they're going to make plays like in man. Like, like man is about winning, zone is about spacing. Like, right? You got to run the routes the correct way, get your depth. Like all these, obviously there's a lot of different things that go to it. But I mean, that's part of it. And then like you said, the new guys, Dom, them coming in, they're going to make an impact. They've been working really hard to get caught up to speed. Obviously, going through spring ball helped them a lot with that, but you can see them starting to play faster and understand things at a higher level and more in depth.
What do you consider Brock? Is he a tight end or receiver?
He's everything. He could probably play quarterback if he wanted to.
Could he run with the receivers?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, there's not like say you're doing.
I think there's a clip from his freshman year on against UAB where he hit like 22 miles per hour or something down the sideline. And like, I mean, I've seen him outrun guys. Like, he's ridiculous.
I remember one play, I think it was Tech a couple years ago, where he caught a skinny and essentially outran the DBs. And I was like, my God, that's a tight end.
He's crazy.
Because I mean, I was with Kelsey for a year. I was with, or for 2 years, I was with Ertz for a year in Philly, and seeing like the transformation of tight ends and how they play such a role in the offense. Obviously, you guys lose Darnell, but you got Oscar, you got Lawson, who played well in the spring game. Pierce, I've heard nothing but good things about him. He's a big guy too. It's hard because there are so many receivers. You want to be in 11 personnel, maybe you're in 10 personnel. You know, so much of the offense the past couple of years has been more 12 personnel, get tight ends in the field. How is that balance of the young tight ends making their mark to continue to be able to use that personnel group?
I mean, I think it's a huge part of the game, like the tight ends evolving, because like you can use them in so many different ways, and having that balance between like getting in like a heavy set 12 where you can like comfortably turn around, hand the ball off, and then play action, and now you got guys that can run routes too and outrun DBs. You know, like it's very hard because like how do you play it on defense? Do you get into nickel personnel? Do you get into base? Like if you get into base, well now you have a Sam Backer out on the field, and is he going to cover Brock Bowers? I don't know. So like obviously there's a lot of more game planning that goes on when you have those type of guys at tight ends. So you know, I'm excited to watch them keep developing.
I think tight end is like the offense's new secret weapon. I think defenses now are trying to figure out that personnel guy that can keep you big, like almost like a base defense, but is athletic enough to still cover a tight end.
Yeah.
They haven't found that guy yet.
Yeah.
There's still that is the position that's kind of next to evolve on the defensive side of the football. But until then, like I love 12 personnel.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you get those two guys out there, and I see them on safety, linebacker. It's a no-brainer. We're gonna take a couple questions though from some fans. Colby wants to know, goofiest teammate. This could be, he said past, present, doesn't matter. Dude who's cut up the most in Bucks hair.
George Pickens.
Really?
He's so funny. He might be the funniest person I've ever met. Like, just like his like persona and the way that he like carries himself and act. Like,
what's the whatever that stance he does? Yeah, the draft day
stance. He's so funny and he's so good too. Like, I mean, one of the best, if not the best wide receiver I've ever thrown to. Like, just ridiculous and just ridiculous off the field too. Such a good guy, but so funny.
Yeah, I just wish he would have maximized.
I know it's hard because he tore his ACL, didn't he?
Yeah, he tore it. Had the off field. Yeah. Looks like he's going to be a incredible NFL year.
I've seen some clips from him, and he's been balling.
You got him and Darnell on the same team.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Him and then Darnell looks amazing so far during preseason too. Mm-hmm. So, wow, that's good to know about him. Joe wants to know, and I want to know this too. You and I are both from Florida.
Yeah.
Jacksonville, Tampa. Better recruits. Do they come from the state of Florida or do they come from Georgia?
I mean, I have to say Florida because I'm from Florida. You're from Florida, so you have to say Florida.
I would say Florida.
I think that there's there's a difference like between the guys. I feel like most guys from Florida you see are like more like DBs, wide receivers, few quarterbacks like thrown in there. Like it's more of your like athlete type dudes, and then like Georgia, you get like some like hard nosed linebackers, like D tackles, like some pass rushers, O linemen. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's a different like type of player from each state. It's just how it goes. But I'd say Florida takes the lead.
So I was walking by and this kind of goes to the next question. I was walking by the Butts earlier today, and you can hear, obviously, people can hear him from 5 blocks away, Kirby yelling and screaming. I mean, I think you can probably hear him from here at Bruxy's. You can hear Kirby screaming on the microphone. What has your relationship been with him? I feel like that has to be getting to somewhat of a special spot because of the fact that you could have left, you stayed, you made a statement that I love Georgia, I love my team, and I kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. How has his respect for you maybe changed over the past year and that relationship overall, and how's that going?
I think he's always had respect for me, and I've always had respect for him. You know, I mean, personally, I think he's the best coach in all of college football. I mean, he demands respect from us. He leads. He shows us how it's done. You know, he makes it hard on us, but we embrace that. You know, that's the standard. But our relationship's always been good, and you know, I think it's progressed even more now that I'm older and I've been here. And obviously, being a quarterback, I think a relationship between the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and like the quarterback is very important. Yeah. So just trying to build that and continue that in the right way.
Is he obviously he's a defensive guy? So like Coach Rick was involved because he was offense, former OC too, so he knew the offense. It was his base offense that Bobo kind of evolved when he did take over, and I think it was like 05 or whatever. But how much is he focused on offense compared to the attention he does put on defense?
I mean, I'd say there's definitely more attention on defense than offense, but like he has a say, you know, like I feel like I've heard him on the sidelines, like, let's take a shot or something. Like obviously to Monken last year, like, let's take a shot then. Like, so it's like kind of like that, but it's like he doesn't have like direct control of like what play we're calling, obviously, but I definitely say he's more involved on the defensive side than offensive side.
So speaking of that kind of that relationship in the 4 years, I think for me the big question is, was it worth it for you, you know, to see that carrot dangling at the end of the stick, knowing that your time is coming, and it just, you know, I'm sure at times felt like it was getting further and further away of reaching what you want to do. Like, you highly recruited guy, you came here, we all expect that we're going to be able to start for 4 years and win a Heisman and get drafted in the first round. Like, we have all these goals, and, you know, life is crazy like that, and sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly. But was it worth the wait as you get closer and closer to the season, what you've had to go through these past 3 years?
I mean, yeah, I'd say it's worth it. I mean, I wouldn't, A, be the person that I am today, and B, be the football player that I am today, I think, without the things that I've gone through and like the adversity that I've had to face. And I mean, that could be this, that, or the other. But yeah, I think it's been well worth it, and hopefully all that pays off.
Is there a message to be sent to just quarterbacks in general, or any position, of, you know, waiting your turn in today's game? Like, do you feel like there is somewhat of an impatient society when it comes to football?
I mean, yeah, I feel like everything is so like instantaneous nowadays, like social media and like the internet and all that. I mean, we could go and talk about that forever, you know, like I'll keep it short and sweet, but like everybody wants everything right now, you know, and everybody's different, you know. One guy might need to leave and transfer and get a better opportunity in a better place, but some guys might need to stay and learn and develop, and, you know, there could be a whole ton of different situations, but I think it's up to the person. But I definitely think there's something to like say for like staying and being patient and waiting your turn. So
first game rolls around, we'll put it out there, you're QB1, you run on the field. What's that first thought going to go through your mind?
I don't know, just embrace it, honestly.
Do you get nervous?
No, never. I feel like I might be a little anxious more.
Can you sleep the night before?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'll be good. But I mean, obviously we'll see when it comes. But I mean, I remember when I walked out there during the national championship, like whenever Stetson came out this past year, and I just walked out there and I looked around and I was like this is real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like standing here on the 50-yard line, like in the national championship. Obviously I didn't start, I didn't play, but like, it's like a surreal moment. Like, I think taking that in and really like being grateful and accepting that, it helps you, you know, to perform the way that you want to.
Do you get emotional at all?
No.
I always did. Whenever I hear Bob O'Reilly, you know, the song that they play right before kickoff.
Yeah.
Dude, every time before the game, I'd have to put my helmet on, because I wasn't like full no Sean Moreno, you know, like the big teardrops, but like every time I'm in Sanford and I hear Bob to start I'm just like, oh man.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get emotional, you know, this year, and just because everything that, you know, I've been patient, I've waited through, I've been through a lot. I'll probably get emotional a little bit.
What's the relationship with your family, and how have they gone through this, and what's their emotions as you get ready for this season?
I mean, obviously they've supported me through it all, and like they've always supported my decision. You know, they've never been in my ear about anything or like tried to make me do anything that I didn't want to do. So, you know, they're right in my hip pocket. I mean, they support me through everything, and I mean, obviously they're going to be at all the games. You know, they're super excited for me. They know what I've been through, the adversity I've faced, so they're just happy. All
right, we had another question here. We'll get a couple more and then get you some sleep after eating all this chicken and waffles tonight. Got us all filled up. One in the chat want to know, I know you've been in camp, you probably haven't been able to see like Stetson or any of the rookies play, but just to update you, Stetson balled out for his first preseason game. Surprised at all with how he played?
No, never surprised. I mean, the guy just makes plays, you know. Even when everyone doubted him and was down on him, like, he went out there and he made plays and he produced, and I mean, it's no surprise that he's doing it at the next level either.
Can you imagine him being a starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams in year one?
I mean, I could see it happening. I mean, obviously they have Stafford, right? And I mean, you never know what may happen. Like in the blink of an eye, like it could be one play and then there he is.
Here comes Stetson Bennett, starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams.
That'd be dope, man. I'm super excited for him. He's a good guy.
I mean, I don't think anyone, you and I were talking about before the interview, no one would have thought 4 years ago Stetson Bennett would have been a starting quarterback in the D1 program. Now all of a sudden he has an opportunity to be the starting quarterback in an NFL team as a rookie.
It's awesome.
Oh, Stetson Bennett. What would you take from him to implement in your game, whether it's play or personality, leadership, anything like that?
Yeah, his like persona that he carries of like next play. You know, it's like nothing like ever phased him really. You know what I'm saying? Like he was very like locked in, very like, okay, it's 1st and 10, like this is what I'm gonna do. Yeah. Okay, 2nd and 6, this is what I'm gonna do. You know, there was no like thinking to the future, thinking back on a play. Like he was just move on, and I think that's a big thing that I can take from him.
I want to last one in with this one because I feel like I've heard this a lot, and I think it's just people kind of nitpicking and finding ways, but we all evolve as leaders one way or the other. Some of us are vocal, some of us lead by example, whatever it is. We all have our style. We have to be authentic to who we are.
Yeah.
Have you found your voice as a leader on the team, and what is that voice or that style?
Yeah, I think a lot of people say that I'm very like nonchalant, like very level-headed, like not too much emotion, but as a quarterback, you know, you think the first thing that comes to your mind is like leadership, right?
Yep.
So, you know, stepping into that role is something that I've had to play with and figure out a little bit of like, how am I going to do this? Because like, obviously there's a lot of different directions and paths that you can take. So like, obviously there's different situations where maybe something does need to be said, you know, you got to be a little more vocal, but also there's other times where you just got to go out there and do it and let everyone else follow you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just let them know like, hey, here I am, like y'all followed me, let's go do this, you know? So there's a lot of different ways you can do it, and I think as the season goes on, like it's something that I'll adapt to and, you know, pick up and figure out.
Nice. Well, I'm excited to see you do your thing this year, man.
Absolutely, appreciate it.
Good luck, enjoy the rest of camp. Don't take too many classes, just the minimum.
Yeah.
Just gotta do the famous saying, I ain't here to play school, baby. Go out there and win that back-to-back national championship.
Oh, yeah.
So, Carson, man, appreciate you jumping on with us, and we'll catch you in a couple weeks.
For sure.